Somehow her friend was always there before things got too bad. Shona stepped back, and Greta thought she could see the outline of her slim shape. "It's my responsibility to watch over you while the Goblin King is away," she whispered. "I heard your cries of distress and came to see if I could help." Greta flushed with embarrassment at the thought that she might have awakened the whole castle with her screams. "Did I burn the bedsheets this time?" She glanced down, but it was too dark. The door flew open and crashed into the opposite wall so hard she felt the shudder of it like a mini earthquake. The sconces hanging on the walls out in the corridor let in enough light for her to see that the hulking figure filling the entrance to her room was very Isaac-shaped. He charged in, eyes glowing in the dark. "I'm okay," she said, worried that he would see the scorch marks in her bed and lose it. Her breathing hitched as he crossed the room in 3 long strides. Shona stepped back as he put his knee on the massive mattress, bigger than any she'd slept in before, and pulled her into his arms. His weight crunched the straw that had been packed beneath the layers of wool and linen making up the bed. He pulled her into his embrace, and her cheek squished against his chest. "I'm fine, it was nothing," she insisted in a muffled voice. She felt him shift and knew he was looking back at Shona for confirmation. She pinched him on the arm. "It was just a dream," she said. She didn't want him worrying about her. She'd caused him enough problems already. "Yes," he finally agreed in a low voice. He ducked his chin and rested it on top of her head. "Just a dream." They both knew there was more to it than that. Neither of them would come right out and say it, though, because in this moment, it was more important that his touch stifle the cold carrying the dream's memory. He wasn't letting her go, and she didn't really want him to. She melted against him and let his strength be the wall between her and the fear she'd carried inside for weeks. It was a weakness she would berate herself for later, but right now, she was just scared enough not to care. Shona cleared her throat, and Greta automatically pulled back, but Isaac's arms only tightened, and he didn't let her go far. "Do you require anything further?" Shona asked. "She is fine. You may leave now." He tossed the order over his shoulder. Greta jabbed him in the stomach, and he grunted. "But I thank you for your assistance." "Yes, my king?" Greta thought she saw Shona's lips twitch before she turned to go. "Shona," Greta called after her. "Could you leave the door open a little bit, please?" "I hope you enjoy better dreams the rest of this night, Denham," she murmured, and with a shadowy nod, the goblin hunter left Greta and Isaac alone. With the small crack of light coming into the room, Greta could see the look on Isaac's face as he peered down at her. "Don't frown at me like that," she said, then reached up to smooth the lines in his forehead away with her fingers. They hadn't talked much about the events of the eclipse. Not about Wyatt and the other human boys or about the battle in Agramon's fortress. And especially not about the dark power that had hitched a ride inside her when she'd come out of that portal. But the worry in his eyes said they needed to. He snagged her hand and kissed her fingers while drawing swirly patterns across her back with his other hand. His chest rose and fell with each of his deep breaths, so close to her she was moved along with them. She was mesmerized. His touch was still so new, her body demanded she give it her full and complete attention. There was a kind of sloppy reverence in it. His hands were too big to treat anything delicately, and yet he seemed to want to try with her. She should remind him that she could handle his big, strong self, that she was no fragile flower who needed to be protected. But that would come later. She glanced around him to the doorway. It was the middle of the night, and he was in her room on the bed with her, and anyone could walk by and see them alone together. Everyone here already hated her, both for being a human and for bewitching their king. It was one